Section 1. Why small money feels useless at first. So Maxwell starts. He is fired up. He cuts back on a few things, frees up $250, opens an investment account, and sets up his first contribution. He feels like he is finally on the path. 1 month passes. He has put in $500. The market is up a little. His account balance, $503. He made $3. Okay, he thinks. Not amazing, but it is a start. 3 months pass. He has put in $1,000. The market dips. His balance is now $980. He has been saving diligently for 3 months, and somehow he has less money than he put in. That feeling of progress turns into a knot in his stomach. 6 months pass. He has contributed $500. After a small recovery, his account is at $1,525. He made $25 in half a year. Meanwhile, he scrolls his phone and sees a friend with a new car. Another friend is on a vacation he knows he cannot afford. He looks back at his $25 gain and it feels like a joke. This is the first trap of building wealth, and it is not financial. It is psychological. Most people do not quit because the plan is failing. They quit because the early results feel too small to respect. Your brain wants immediate reward. You put in effort, so you want to see a result. But compounding does not work that way. It does not reward you early. It tests you early. The growth curve starts almost flat. It is so slow that your brain reads it as failure, even though it is the normal first step. This is the invisible phase. The phase where boredom and doubt start whispering. This is taking forever. I will never get rich like this. Maybe I should just use the $250 for a weekend trip. At least I would enjoy it. That guy online is making thousands a day. Maybe my strategy is wrong. This is where comparison becomes poison. People compare their small, honest progress to curated luxury viral screenshots and success stories with all the failures edited out. They compare chapter 1 of their life to chapter 20 of someone else's. That psychological battle is the biggest reason people who start with small amounts quit before the plan has any chance to work. But before Maxwell can make his $250 work for him, he has to check something less exciting. He has to find out whether his money is already working against him. Section 2. Maxwell's $250 reality check. Maxwell is a normal guy, no six-figure salary, no trust fund, regular job, regular bills. Finding an extra $250 a month was not easy. It took sacrifice. But when he audited his finances, and I mean really audited them, he noticed something uncomfortable. The $250 was not missing, because life was impossible. It was leaking. Few extra food delivery orders. A subscription he forgot he was paying for. An impulse buy because of a limited time sale. Convenience, one by one, these small lifestyle leaks added up. Then it hit him. The problem is not always that he has no money. The problem is that his money has no assignment. It is floating around, waiting to be spent on whatever is easiest. So Maxwell makes a mental shift. His $250 investment does not need to look impressive overnight. It just needs a job. He literally writes, "My $250 has a job," on a notepad and circles it. That job is to build the first real automated financial system in his life. His goal is no longer to get rich in a year. His goal is to prove that he can build a system and stick to it no matter how small it starts. And the first job of that money is not to make him wealthy. It is to stop him from getting poorer. Section 3. Debt is already working while you sleep. This is the first brutal truth, and it is hard to swallow. If Maxwell has high-interest debt, then money is already working while he sleeps. But it is working against him. Think about it. The average interest rate for credit card accounts that carry a balance is around 22%. Some store cards are even higher. Maxwell is hoping his $250 investment might one day earn a solid long-term average, maybe somewhere around the S&P 500's historical 10% annual return before inflation. But his credit card is charging him 22% right now. That is not an equal fight. His investment is trying to climb a hill with a small shovel while his debt is an avalanche coming down the other side. Before Maxwell can make money while he sleeps, he has to stop losing money while he sleeps. High-interest debt never rests. It steals from the future. It turns tomorrow's paycheck into a payment for yesterday's pizza. It makes every dollar he invests weaker because another dollar is being eaten by interest somewhere else. When Maxwell sends his $250 a month to a credit card with 22% APR, it does not feel exciting. There is no cool app showing a green chart going up. But what he is really doing is giving himself something like a guaranteed 22% improvement compared with carrying that balance. He is paying a predator to get out of his life and not come back. Of course, not all debt is the same. A low-interest mortgage or a reasonable student loan is a different animal. But high-interest consumer debt is a 5-alarm fire. Maxwell realizes he has to list all his debts, find the one with the highest interest rate, and attack it first. Then, after that fire is out, there's another boring step social media gurus rarely talk about. Section 4. The emergency fund nobody wants to build. Emergency cash is boring. It just sits there in a high-yield savings account. It does not feel like investing. It definitely does not make Maxwell feel rich. In a world obsessed with explosive growth, it feels like his money is doing nothing. Good high-yield savings account might offer 4% or 5% APY, which is useful, but it is not the exciting growth he is dreaming about. But the emergency fund is not there to make him rich. It is there to protect the plan that will. Without an emergency fund, one unexpected car repair can force him back onto a high-interest credit card. A surprise medical bill can shatter the budget and force him to sell investments at the worst time. A temporary loss of income can create panic and desperate choices. An emergency fund does not create wealth by itself. It preserves the process of wealth creation. It is the shield around the young wealth machine. It makes sure one flat tire does not send Maxwell back to square one, so he makes a new plan. Instead of investing the full $250 immediately, he diverts it into a separate high-yield savings account labeled emergencies only. His first goal is simple, $1,000. It is a starter fund, proof of concept. It might take him 4 months, but once that buffer is in place, he is no longer one bad day away from financial disaster. Once he has stopped the bleeding from debt and built his shield, then the boring math of wealth building can finally do its work. Section 5. The boring math that actually builds wealth. This is the part everyone talks about, but very few people have the patience to experience. Compounding. The idea is simple. Maxwell invests money consistently. That money, in things like stocks or funds, can earn returns. Those returns get reinvested buying more of the asset. Now a bigger pile of money is working for him, which can generate bigger returns later. And over time, the account grows from his contributions, the growth of the investments, and the growth on the growth. The magic ingredient is time. These numbers are just a clean illustration. Real life is messier. But look at how the machine works. If Maxwell invests $250 every month, in the first year he contributes $3,000. If he gets an average 7% return, that is about $210. His account grows, but it is mostly his own money. The growth feels tiny. After 10 years, his contributions total $30,000. With that same 7% average return, his account could be worth over $43,000. Now, the growth is a meaningful part of the balance. After 20 years, he has put in $60,000. His account could be worth over $130,000. The growth is now doing more work. And after 30 years, his $90,000 in contributions could have snowballed into over $300,000. The machine is finally running itself. The magic of compounding is invisible at first because the base is too small. A 7% return on $1,000 is just $70. It is hard to get excited about that, but a 7% return on $300,000 is $21,000 a year. That feels powerful. Compounding is boring before it is powerful, and that is exactly why most people quit. Section 6. Why most people quit too early. The journey from $250 a month to $300,000 is not a straight line. It is a psychological minefield. The early stage feels unrewarding, and that is when most people give up. One of the biggest traps is loss aversion. Research by psychologists Daniel Kahneman and Amos Tversky found that, for many people, the pain of losing a dollar feels much stronger than the joy of gaining one. So when the market drops and Maxwell sees his small account in the red, the emotional sting feels huge. It tempts him to sell just to stop the bleeding. This is why checking an investment account every day can be dangerous for many investors. It exposes you to normal market noise, which triggers emotional biases and the urge to do something. Maxwell learns that the account is not just money. It is evidence. Evidence that he can control his behavior. Evidence that he can delay gratification. Evidence that he can trust a system even when it feels slow. He has to prove to himself that he can stay consistent. If you understand that the hardest part is not finding the perfect stock, but staying consistent long enough for the plan to matter, comment system below. But there is one way Maxwell can make the machine stronger. It is a hidden shortcut most beginners miss. Section 7. The hidden shortcut. Use $250 to earn more. Sometimes the highest return investment you can make is not in the stock market. It is in yourself. Maxwell realizes his ability to invest is capped by his income. If he only ever invests $250 a month, the wealth machine will always be a bit small. But what if he uses part of that $250 to increase his earning power? With $250 a month, Maxwell could buy an online course for a high-demand skill like coding or digital marketing. He could buy books or software that make him better at his current job and help him earn a raise. He could invest in materials for an industry certification. He could buy basic gear for a small side hustle, like a good microphone for voiceover work. This is not magic. Not every course is worth the money. Buying a tool does not automatically create income. The skill has to connect to something the market actually wants. But if Maxwell uses some of that money to learn a skill that eventually gets him a promotion or a freelance client, he changes the whole equation. If a $1,000 certification leads to a $5,000 raise, the return return is massive. That raise could let him invest $500 a month or even $750. He has not just added more fuel to the machine, he has upgraded the engine. But even with more income, none of this works if he has to rely on willpower every month. That is where the real meaning of building wealth while you sleep finally kicks in. Conclusion. This is the real meaning of while you sleep. It does not mean money magically appears. It means you built automatic systems that keep working without needing your daily motivation. The money works while you sleep because you made the right decisions before you got tired, distracted, or tempted. Maxwell sets up an automatic transfer from checking to investing the day after payday. He sets up automatic debt payments. He turns on automatic dividend reinvestment. Automation removes the weakest link in most financial plans: human emotion. The goal is not to trust your discipline forever. The goal is to design a system that needs less of it. That brings the whole framework together. Income to margin to automation to assets to reinvestment to time. Income. You need money coming in. If it is not enough, the first job is to increase it. Margin. You must spend less than you earn. Wealth is born in that gap. Automation. That margin has to move automatically before you can talk yourself out of it. Assets. The money needs to go into things that can grow or produce income. Reinvestment. Returns go back into the system to fuel more growth. Time. The system needs years, not weeks, to do its work. The brutal truth is that wealth is rarely built with one genius move. It is built by a boring system repeated for longer than most people can stand. People break this machine every day with lifestyle inflation, panic selling, chasing hype, and impatience. So here is Maxwell's final realistic plan for his $250. First, he attacks his worst debt. Then he builds a small emergency buffer. He automates his savings. He invests consistently into a simple, low-cost investment. He dedicates some time and money to increasing his skills, and he reviews his progress quarterly, not daily, so his emotions are not driving the car. Maxwell's goal is not to make his $250 look impressive this month. It is to make that $250 impossible to waste ever again. The brutal truth is also the opportunity. No, $250 a month will not make you rich quickly. It will not fix bad habits by itself, and it will not feel exciting at first, but it can be the first brick. It can be the foundation for discipline. It can be proof that you are capable of building a system and sticking to it. The brutal truth is that $250 a month is not enough to save someone who keeps breaking the system, but it is more than enough to start changing the person who uses it. If you want a part 2 where I show exactly how Maxwell could split that $250 a month, comment 250 plan below. Like this video if it changed how you think about starting small. And subscribe for more stories that make finance easier to understand, because $250 a month may not build wealth overnight. But if you give that money a job, protect it, automate it, and let time do its work, it can become the first real wealth machine in your life.